Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everything's good wherever you are. Guys, so we had Devin the Dream Haney against Jojo Diaz. And Devin the Dream Haney, won a decision against Jojo Diaz. Smash the like button before we get into this video. Let's hit the like button. Let's get those likes up there. I'm pretty sure all of you tuned in to watch the fight. Share the video, of course, as well. And yeah, good fight. Good fight. I thought it was quite lively. I thought it was quite an interesting fight, to be perfectly honest with you. I think it was a fight where Devin the Dream Haney showed his skills. Jojo Diaz showed his skills. Jojo Diaz has got fast hands. He was a little small. Haney had a lot of physical advantages over Jojo Diaz, and I think he did take advantage of that. Devin did well. I think he, performed decent. Listen, I'm not one of those guys that is saying Devin Haney is Mayweather or he's Sugar Ray Leonard or he's like, nah. I don't see that kind of ability or talent in his skills. Now, I know there's been a lot of hype around Devin Haney ever since he was a 15-year-old. I remember Roy Jones talking about Devin Haney. He goes, I got a 15-year-old by the name of Devin Haney. I remember the Mayweather boxing gym actually shut down their gym just so Devin Haney can train because they thought this kid was going to become a superstar. Jeff Mayweather also said he trained Devin when he was young. So this is a kid that hasn't just come out of nowhere. This is a kid that has had a lot of exposure early on in his career, and a lot of legends of the game, like Floyd Mayweather, like the Floyd Mayweather Senior, Jeff Mayweather, Roy Jones, guys like that have known about Devin Haney and know he was going to be a champion from a very young age. So this isn't somebody that has just come out of nowhere. This is a guy that's been talked about for a very, very long time. This is a guy that people have been high on for a very, very long time. So he's not come out of nowhere. So when you've got that hype around you, there's a lot of expectation. There's a lot of expectation. There's a lot of expectation of you to go out there and perform at a very high level. And sometimes that expectation can result in people saying you're a hype job because they're expecting a lot more than what you're doing. Or sometimes it's a case where some people put you on a pedestal where you don't really belong, where you're not that good as what people are hyping you up to be. And then you put in your performances and people aren't impressed because they have a certain opinion in their head about you, but you're not delivering to that level. With Devin Haney, for me, I think Devin Haney's a very good fighter. I think he's very skilled. I think he's got the skills. I think he's got... when people say he's got a great defense, I've got a question mark over that. I think he gets hit a lot. In the Linares fight, he got caught. In this fight, he got caught a lot of times with big shots as well. Big body shots, big left hands, flush on the chin. So to be honest with you, I'm not that impressed with his defense. I think he does get caught a lot. I do think that him and Kambosos is a very good fight. I don't think either guy's a big puncher. And that's, I think, Devin Haney's biggest Achilles heel. I don't think he's a big puncher. And that's going to be a big problem when he comes up against a big puncher, especially the fact that he gets hit. Devin Haney gets hit. I don't care what anybody says, Haney gets hit a lot. He's been wobbled against Linares, and Jojo Diaz hit him with some big shots in there last night. Big shots. And I think Devin's lucky that the fact that Jojo isn't really a massive puncher at lightweight. Remember, Jojo Diaz isn't a very big lightweight. He's a small guy. So Devin Haney's able to absorb and, take his power. Unfortunately, when he fights somebody that's bigger at the weight that can punch, like I actually think Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney may be a dangerous fight for Devin because Teofimo's a little wild and he can punch. He can punch. Again, his punching power might be a little overrated as well. But I still think he can punch. He can crack. He's got that explosive power. Kambosos showed a very good chin. Although he went down in that fight, Kambosos definitely showed a very good chin. However, there's a fight out there that I think that Devin Haney, in my opinion, gets beat, and that's against Tank. I think Gervonta Davis knocks Devin Haney out. I think Devin Haney has shown that vulnerability there. And the problem is with Devin Haney is he's got no power. And someone like Tank will walk through him. I think Devin Haney will outbox Tank, yeah. But I think Tank will walk through everything Devin's got, and I think he'll land a massive uppercut or a massive left hand that will put Devin Haney on the floor. I think I would favor Tank Davis stylistically to beat Devin Haney and beat him by knockout as well. I think that I would fancy him to beat Haney, because I don't think Haney has the power to keep someone like Gervonta off. And Gervonta will just walk forward, walk him down, and walk him onto a big shot. Because like I said to you, his defense, he isn't a Mayweather. He gets caught with a lot of big shots. A lot of big shots. And someone like Gervonta Davis is not just a big puncher. He's a very skilled boxer, which he doesn't get credit for. But Gervonta Davis can box, and he's very explosive. You know, he's not like Jojo Diaz or Linares. Gervonta is very explosive. His punches come out of nowhere and they put you to sleep. He has the kind of punching power that, you know, like Wilder, that can put you to sleep. And I personally think that I would favor Gervonta Davis by knockout against Devin Haney. And even against Kambosos, I think that's a very close fight, because they're both not big punchers, but they're both kind of volume fighters. Haney might be the more polished of the two, out of Haney and Kambosos. I think he's probably the more polished. But that's still a good fight. It's a 50-50 fight. So Haney might be favored, and Haney might go on to become an undisputed champion. But if I was Gervonta Davis, I would let that fight happen between Haney and Kambosos, and then I would fancy Gervonta against both of those guys. I'll tell you why. Because I think Gervonta's power will get them out of there. I do. I think either guy gets knocked out, because I don't think either guy can hurt. Gervonta's got a fairly good chin. And I don't think either of those guys hurt Gervonta Davis. And I think Gervonta Davis would walk them down and put them in and get him into a I believe he'll just knock him out. I believe his explosive power will, and I think both Kambosos and Haney probably outbox Tank. They could probably outbox him, outwork him. But the problem is, as Leo Santa Cruz, I know Leo Santa Cruz was a smaller man. I feel Gervonta Davis has that equalizer. And I believe at some point in the fight, it's a 12-round fight, some point in the fight, Gervonta Davis will land a huge shot that knocks them both out. I think that Gervonta Davis has got scary power. I do. I think he's got very, very explosive power. And at first, I wasn't that convinced about Gervonta. But you know what? After watching all these guys, yeah, I favor Gervonta Davis over most of these guys. And I even now favor him over Teo, to be honest with you, because I wasn't impressed after seeing Teo against Kambosos. And I think Gervonta Davis is a very, very good fighter. Not just a big puncher. I think he can box as well. I think, you know, they need to sharpen up. I think Gervonta Davis needs to move his head a little bit more. I think he's very hittable. And as you're fighting guys that your size or a little bit bigger, I think that could be a problem, because Gervonta does get caught with shots. Although, you know, he's not that bad defensively, but I just think he sometimes gets caught with a lot of shots. And I think when you're fighting a bigger man, that could be dangerous. But I am impressed. I'm not going to lie. I am impressed with Gervonta Davis out of all of them. I think Gervonta Davis is the more complete out of all of them. He's got power. He can box. Now, I thought that was Teo, but after watching Teo in his last fight, you know, he was fairly poor. Let's be honest. He was not impressive whatsoever. So I think Gervonta Davis, for me, is probably the more complete. And I personally favor him by knockout. But again, Gervonta Davis is another guy that he's not really fighting the best. So it's hard to judge. He's not really fought the best at 135. He's fought Gamboa and he fought Pedraza at 130, I believe. He hasn't really fought anybody. Like, you know, I actually think, and crazy enough, I actually think Lomachenko might just be the best guy. Now, Gervonta Davis has the kind of power that maybe could knock Lomachenko out as well. You know, but Lomachenko, for me, is I believe Lomachenko is the best lightweight. And I know a lot of people, since he's lost to Teofimo Lopez, that's gone up as a, you know, people aren't giving Lomachenko his respect. But I think Lomachenko might be the best lightweight out there. I personally think he may be the best out of the lot. But people are overlooking Lomachenko after him losing that fight against a Teofimo Lopez. But, you know, that could, look, we all know that Lomachenko was suffering with a shoulder injury. He wasn't at his best in that fight. And I personally think that if he was to fight Teofimo again, I think he outboxes him. And I personally think he outboxes Tank. But Tank has the power to wipe him out. That's what makes that fight interesting. And Tank has the power to wipe Haney out, wipe Kambosos out. That's what makes Tank and Jeff Mayweather hit the nail on the head the other day, that Tank has got something that none of these other guys have, and that's power. That's explosive power. He has the kind of power to wipe all of these guys out. And that's what makes Tank special, is the fact that he has X Factor. Haney doesn't have that X Factor. Neither does Kambosos. Neither does Lomachenko. Lomachenko has the X Factor in terms of he has great boxing ability. But I don't think Lomachenko has the power to really trouble Tank. Maybe he does. I don't think so. I think they'll be able to take his power. But I think Tank is out of all of these guys has the X Factor, because Tank can punch. Tank can really, really punch. And if he connects right, it hits you with that uppercut or hits you with a huge left hand, you could be going to sleep. So for me, I believe, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I think Lomachenko might be the best, but I think Tank is capable of beating anyone. And I would favor Tank against Haney, and I would favor him against Kambosos, and now I would favor him against Tio. And I think the Lomachenko fight, I would slightly favor Loma 55-45 against Tank. But that, for me, would be the proper fight. That, for me, would be number 1 against number 2. Even though, you know, Tio did his thing, and I think Tio might be now moving up to 140, so we may have to stop talking about him at 135. But I definitely think Lomachenko might still be the best at the lightweight division. I personally do. I think after watching Haney, I think Lomachenko would school Haney. I personally think he outboxes Haney. And listen, I've got to give respect to Haney, because Haney comes across as that type of guy that he'll fight anyone. He'll get in the ring with anyone. He'll fight literally anyone. He's willing to go to Australia to fight Kambosos. And very few fighters are willing, especially when they're a star. And I gave Errol Spence a lot of credit when he went over and fought Kell Brook in the UK, because when you're an up-and-coming hot prospect and a star being built into a star, very few fighters are willing to do that. Very few fighters are willing to go into another guy's backyard and fight them. They all want home advantage, but, you know, Errol Spence did that, and it looks like Devin Haney is willing to do that against Kambosos. Is that because he knows that he's confident that he's better than Kambosos and he'll beat him? Regardless of what it is, it's still impressive and it's still admirable that he's willing to do that. So that's my take on the fight. I think I thought personally in terms of the fight, I thought, Devin did his thing. I felt he won the fight, a very close fight. But I think there was obviously weaknesses there in Devin. I think Jojo Diaz did great. I think Jojo Diaz, I think he was a little bit too small. But, Jojo Diaz is very tough and he's a great fighter. Him against Ryan Garcia would be a very interesting fight. Leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Let me know what you think. And, guys, remember to please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.